Hello and welcome everybody to All the Rage Sports Podcast. With me, as always, is my lovely group of panelists. But Andy's hiding behind a sheet.
Fuck you, Andy.
There it is. Fuck you, Kevin.
We got our good Andy Stewart, Jace Junk, and
Good?
the one and only.
I would say our Andy Stewart is like average at best.
I was going to say I'm a very
Yeah.
mediocre Andy Stewart.
Good as a reach.
a solid 6.5, Andy Stewart, and
I'll take it.
and a lovely.
He wishes he had a
Kevin.
solid 6.5.
But you don't want to see me solid, bud.
All right, so today we're going to do a little bit of recapping on the divisional playoff weekend. We do have a little bit of coaching news to talk about. We also have some, retirements that have happened that we're going to touch on. Then we're going to go into everybody's final thoughts. Just remind you of a big bag of dicks. That's all I have to say to that.
Good dicks, a bag of dicks. Actually,
So-
a bag of dicks. If to sum up our playoff picks, a big old bag. Of
Yeah,
dicks.
that's pretty much what it is.
I wonder if that was like going to be a prop for his next rap video.
That's probably it. That's exactly what it was.
This bitch choking on a bag of dicks.
I want to get no more white women 2020 as a tramp stamp tattooed on me.
If you do, I'll pay for it.
Andy's already in. All right, donate to the PayPal. So Jace
Yeah.
has
No,
to.
loser of the
If we
fantasy.
No, if we get $1,500 in the PayPal, Jace has to get a No White Women 2020 tramp stamp. That's a
Yeah,
fact.
agreed.
Is it-
$1,500.
I'm
There's
not
a real
agreeing to this
thing.
because I'll turn my phone off tonight and wake up in the morning and some grassroots.
We're fucking
Hey,
loaded.
Hey, guess what?
Yeah, and I get a text message from each three of you individually, like, "Hey, we made an appointment for you." No, I didn't.
Wake up in the morning like, dude, quit your job.
If
Pussy
this
no
was
balls.
bigger and it was gonna get us some notoriety, sure, but this would literally
It could.
ruin my life.
Sell your body for
Could.
pride, anyhow.
Sell your body for the glory of all the rage.
I mean, Bria got that ass like a black girl, so you could say that, it doesn't count for her.
I'm not sure she's gonna be comfortable with you, just throwing that out there.
That
Well,
was awesome. That got super weird. I'm out of here.
She's actually sat here a couple of times listening to us, and she's just like looking at me, just mouthing the words like, "What the fuck are
The
they
fuck?
talking about?" And shit like this.
Trust me, Bria, we don't know what we're talking about half the time. And we're going to prove that we don't know what the fuck we're talking about here coming up shortly. So all that and more coming on All the Rage Sports.
Speak for yourself.
So the number one thing we'll talk about a little bit here is want to take a look at our picks from over for our divisional round.
I like the way you fondle your balls, Jace.
Thank you.
I got 3 right. I picked the Ravens. They obviously did not win, which is just a great story. Jace only got the Niners correct. He picked every other one wrong. Kevin missed the Ravens as well. And Andy actually missed the Seahawks. He picked the Seahawks over the Packers. So that one was a loss for him. So all of us went 3-1 except for Jace going 1-3. As, normal Jace fashion. So
Yeah, it's either all in or
Well,
not
see,
at all,
here's the
so.
thing. Jace is only good in a marathon. He's not good in a sprint like the playoff bracket. That's not going to work out for him.
Yeah,
He's got-
it's
You
always
got to
one
give him a
bad
chance
club
to
when
come
it's
back
all
from being
gone.
down 13 games to really make a run at the end.
speaking of our playoff brackets, now we took a look at all of our playoff brackets and kind of decided who we basically did a point per game answered correctly. So over the wild card, Andy got the Titans. That's 1. He picked Buffalo, so he didn't get there. He did pick Seattle, so there's 2. He did pick Minnesota, so there's 3. He did have San Francisco beating Minnesota. There's 4. He had Seattle beating Green Bay, which that didn't go. He had Baltimore winning. There's nothing there. And he had Buffalo winning. So he up till this point right now, 1, 2, 3, and 4. He has the potential to get no more. San Francisco
Can't win
is
them all.
only. Yeah, San Francisco is the only team he has left, so he can get a point, and he has them losing, so he can't even get a point there. So Andy is at a solid 4. I did try to tell you were at a 6.5, but I apologize. You are not. Me, I did pick Houston, so I got a point there. I did pick Seattle, so I got a point there. I had Kansas City winning, so there's another point. I had San Francisco winning, so there's another point. So I have 4. I do have Kansas City going to the Super Bowl, so that could get me 5. But I also had San Francisco losing to New Orleans and New Orleans winning the Super Bowl. So once again, I could have the max of 5, and that is it. Kevin, on the other hand, did have Tennessee, so there's 1. Did have Houston 2. Did have Seattle 3, but he had New Orleans. He had San Francisco winning, so there's 4. He had New Orleans beating Green Bay, so that's not 1. He had Kansas City winning, so there's 5. He has a possibility to get 6 if San Francisco wins, and 7 if San Francisco wins the Super Bowl. So he's at 5 with possibility of 7 correct answers. Jace got Tennessee over New England. He picked Buffalo, so that was a no-go. Seattle over Philly, so there's 2. He had Minnesota, so there's 3. He had San Francisco, there's 4. He had both Buffalo and Baltimore going to the AFC, so that didn't work. He has Seattle playing in the Super Bowl. Oh, I'm looking at Andy's. What the fuck?
Idiot.
Idiot. Let me go back here. So he had Tennessee and Houston. There's 2. And he had Seattle and New Orleans. So there's 3 total. He did get the NFC Championship correct with San Francisco and Green Bay. So he got 3, 4, 5. He unfortunately did not get the AFC Championship correct. He then had Baltimore going to the Super Bowl and winning it, so that one doesn't get anything, but he does have San Francisco winning the NFC, so he can get 6. So essentially the only way Jace can win is if San Francisco goes to the Super Bowl and loses, and that would tie him with Kevin. So essentially Kevin's pretty much won it if San Francisco wins the Super Bowl, obviously.
Or the Titans could lose to the Chiefs. Jesse would then join us. And then...
Yeah, we'd all have 5.
Yeah.
If San Francisco lost, we would have a
Then we'd all be
three-way tie of
tied.
5.
Yeah. So it's probably going to be a Green Bay, Kansas City Super Bowl.
Yeah, watch that. And that would basically conclude that we all suck at
NFL
picking the
100.
playoffs.
NFL 100, it would be the perfect fucking.
Oh yeah, just the perfect cap it off.
Yeah.
So that is a look at our brackets. So obviously, I hope you didn't put money on our brackets.
Oh, if you did, you're stupid, and I
Yeah,
don't
you-
show any sympathy for you.
Precisely. So let's look ahead this weekend, the championship weekend. We have Tennessee at Kansas City. Tennessee's been a just amazing story.
So yeah.
Whoa!
So Tennessee's been an amazing story, and San Francisco and Green Bay. So I want to get your guys' take. Each of you just kind of give me a little tidbit. Let's start with the AFC Championship. What are you guys looking for out of this game? And give me a little bit of how can each team win. So Andy, I'll start with you.
Derrick Henry is going to rush for 250 yards, and Take the Titans to the Super Bowl. That's it.
That's all you have there?
Yeah.
City was
Kansas
laying
City's-
low.
What?
You said you were laying low this week before we started. I wasn't sure what that meant, but that apparently means you're going to give like 4-word answers and then be like, yeah, and then just flip the camera off a little bit.
Yeah, flip. Fuck you guys. I'm right. Always.
Butchin McGee with a mega lamp behind him. He's,
Don't start.
Yeah, you have.
Laying
It
low.
looks like it's just burning
Yeah,
a hole in the video.
It
You
is.
have,
actually.
did
This
you
is actually.
capture like a small sun?
I was gonna say I'm growing my own son in here.
You need to put the
Pretty
light
impressive.
behind your camera so it shines on your face.
That's what I
And-
tried to tell him, like
I don't
before
think
we
you
started.
realize-
I'm
It is
100%
now
right.
required
I was a
sun to
broadcasting
orbit.
major.
I don't think you realize how heavy this fucking light is. It's like cast iron. It's like the first light ever
Okay, don't be a pussy.
I will repeat because it was funny enough to say it twice. Andy's chin is so big it has got a sun orbiting around it now.
That's pretty funny. Oh god, my head.
I do like that I called him Butchin McGee, and he's like, "Don't even start." After he called me Quasimodo 2 weeks ago.
I don't want to get back to that. That was a low.
Honestly,
You got to
from this
keep moving
angle,
that
Kevin,
lamp, bro.
And
Kevin,
called
you're
Jace.
much more flattering this week. You look like Jabba the Hutt with a goatee.
Oh, okay, thank you. You
I don't
leprechaun
even.
fuck.
I don't even see
It
anything. I
covers
just see
up
like
the-
your mouth
covers up
at
the
the
first
bottom
three
of the
chins.
camera
It's very flattering.
because you're like,
They
I
say
need
the
to have
camera
my
adds
lava
10
lamp
pounds,
in
so
video.
Listen here, I will come over there and fuck that chin right off your face.
You limp dick cock.
What?
Chance entering here.
I was gonna say,
Hi,
did
Chance.
your cat say that?
Oh, I saw it with the
Oh,
cat.
there's
I was
Chance.
like,
So you're
That's
saying
not
there's a
creepy at all.
chance?
you remember Sabrina the Teenage Witch? Is that fucking Winston? Or whatever?
You limp-wristed cock.
Wow, you watched way too much of the show that you remember that cat's name.
No,
I don't know
that's
if it
you know
was
how my
Winston.
brain works. I can't tell you what I did yesterday, but I can tell you what Sabrina the Teenage Witch's cat's name was from watching.
Melissa
that
Joan
show.
Hart was not that attractive.
I disagree.
Who was
You're
the mom
wrong.
on Gilmore Girls?
Wow, horrible take. Totally disagree.
Wait, the mom
We're
or
not
the
talking-
daughter? Because the mom was hotter than the daughter.
I was gonna say the mom on Gilmore Girls.
Lauren Graham is her name.
This is a football.
Oh,
show.
thank you.
Anyway,
Back to the
moving on.
sports.
We went to the Gilmore Girls there. I'm a little bit worried.
No, I'm really upset at us.
Fuck yeah, that show.
Also, I'm very upset that you've watched the Gilmore Girls. I'm not gonna
Me?
lie to you.
I have a wife.
Both
We
of
have
you.
wives
Both of you.
that
We have
like to sit and watch their
Shame.
TV shows.
Yeah, I was gonna say I watched that by myself. I only cried for 2 hours, man. Season finale.
I just wish I could find a parody porn of it.
okay.
All right, moving on to the. All right, okay. So I'll get to the Titans and the Chiefs now.
Yes, please.
Rage during the taping of that show.
Okay, so on my way home, I for the first time wanted to call into a radio show because Tiki Barber was trying to say that the Chiefs were going to slow down Derrick Henry, and that was going to be how they'd be able to beat the Titans, and also that even even if they held the ball for a lot longer than the Chiefs did, the Chiefs can still score in 3 plays.
Correct.
Okay, so the reason why you're wrong, Mr. Barber, is because the Chiefs haven't been able to stop any running back this year, let alone the best running back in football right now.
And real
6'6".
quick,
over the
they're
past-
On a
currently
4.40,
playing without
baby.
Chris Jones right now, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're not going to stop Derrick Henry, nor can their secondary stop Ryan Tannehill when he does try to throw the football.
I
The
hate
second-
the fact that that's an actual sentence used and that I don't disagree with it.
He's a manager,
The
man. He's
second
fucking-
point, too, is so what the Chiefs can score in 3 plays, that's just going to make their defense even worse because they will spend the entire game on the fucking field and will be so run down that Derrick Henry will be raking off 20-yard runs every fucking time he touches the football.
Yeah.
And
Here's
Johnny
my
Smith.
question on Derrick Henry, though. When does the man run out of gas? They're giving him 30 touches a game. Like,
He'll get a week break for the Pro Bowl, so
Well, all that being said, I don't think the Chiefs are going to score in 3 plays. I think they'll hold the ball a little bit longer than that, so the defense won't get as wore out. They will be able to probably get a couple stops throughout the game, and I just the way Mahomes played in that second half of that fucking Texans game, I cannot go against the Chiefs right now.
They started off
for
so
one-
bad, and it was nuts.
I, for one, am mortgaging my house on the Titans to win it all.
That's my boy, baby, right there.
The funny thing
Because-
is,
What's up?
he doesn't own a house.
Yeah, well, honestly, that just makes it easier. Like, yeah, I'm just playing. It's like it's gambling with literally the house's money. It's not mine. But no, their defense, I think, is good enough. I mean, the Ravens were so explosive all year. This is just a very well coached team, and Mike Vrabel knows how to take away your best option. You know, like he.
Gee, I
made
wonder where he
Lamar-
learned that.
Yeah, like he made Lamar Jackson throw the ball 50-some times last week instead of being able to just run at will and then pick his passes and be super accurate.
Well, not to interrupt you, but you can go ahead and take away Travis Kelce, and then what's that leave?
Oh,
Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, Robinson, who's been catching passes left and right all year.
Good. I'm getting there, but here's the thing. We talked about this on. Why can't you ever just? I at least when I interject, I was like, Chris Jones isn't playing. I'm being helpful to your point. You're like, you're wrong. Shut the fuck up for 5 seconds.
I'm not being helpful, but I was making a counterpoint.
I was getting there. What I'm saying is what they're going to do is they're going to come out and they're going to play nothing but fucking man with cover high safety on Mecole and fucking Tyreek. Because
Physical.
as
They
they've
are
shown,
gonna
as the Colts
burn
figured
them.
out, the way to play and beat the Chiefs is to make Mahomes throw against man coverage. They went literally, teams were playing them like 90% zone up until that week that the Colts played them because everybody thought, okay, we can't go man to man with 2 of the fastest human beings on earth. And then they played man and just had safety help
Drop
over
a
the
safety,
top.
yeah.
And you cover the middle of the field for Travis Kelce, and they don't have a fucking running back. Like Spencer Williams, he doesn't fucking scare anybody.
Well,
Is
you're
LaShawn
combining
McCoy
both
hurt?
of their running backs, but
Yeah,
I don't even think one of them plays there anymore.
You mixed Spencer Ware, who's
Well,
no
that's
longer there,
literally
with
like
and
is
one of the
LaShawn
Damian
D-Wing.
Williams.
Is
Yeah.
LaShawn McCoy even on the team? Like I fucking
No.
that's my point. I can't even tell you who's playing running back for them right now.
Chandrick fucking West.
Sharkandrick West, he's been gone for like 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
It's
It's,
Williams
it's
and
the
Williams.
Williams guys. It's
And
Wendell
he was-
Smallwood.
It's
Williams
Damian
was
Williams. I got the wrong Williams.
Yeah.
Damian Williams and I can't
and
remember
like
the other.
D'Angelo Williams or something. They're both D Williams.
there's whatever. Damian Williams is the one that's been playing mostly, and he had a big part in that offense on this past weekend.
Can I
so-
just throw one little tidbit out there? How funny is it when he does break a run and Tyreek Hill from 20 yards behind him catches him to pat him on the back as they
Smacks
walk
him on
into
the
the-
ass.
Yeah.
It
Well,
is a-
because
it's fucking nuts.
he tried to claim that he was the fastest person on the team, and that pissed Tyreek off. So every time he gets out in front of people, he's got to run up after him. And yeah, real quick, I just wanted to wrap this up. The Titans have a much superior offensive line in the running game. There's that defense of the Chiefs is like a fucking colander at this point. There's so many
Yeah.
holes. Ryan Tannehill is going to come out and look like fucking Warren Moon.
Brett Favre, baby.
Steve McNair.
I really, really want Tennessee to win this because I think it would be a great story. I think Kansas City can hold them off. I think this is obviously going to be the most. I think this will be more difficult for Kansas City than the Super Bowl will be if they make it. But yeah, I would love to see Tennessee, but I have a hard time betting against Mahomes right now after what he did, being down 24-0.
I don't think the Chiefs are going to be able to deal with the fucking like just pure physical corners, like their receivers getting beat up like every play. Like I think that's where the win's going to come
Got to
in.
catch them to beat on them.
They are going to have to. Well, when you're standing
Play
in
them
front of
straight across the
line of
fucking
scrimmage,
field. Yeah.
If you take away Travis Kelce and you stop effectively what running game they have had, they're going to win this game. You're going to still get a splash play to Mecole or Tyreek, but if you limit those and you don't give up the consistent plays to Kelsey, the Titans will win this game.
Yeah.
Titans versus Niners would be interesting. Belichick, disciple, and Vrabel going up against a former Belichick future quarterback and Jimmy Garoppolo.
It's true.
That'd be two very good defenses, honestly.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that'd be awesome.
So now we
It'd
talked
be a
about
shit
the,
low-scoring Super Bowl like last year's.
Where's one of our fathers to run in and yell defense wins championships?
right.
Hey!
So we've talked about the AFC Championship. Let's look at how we got here. So Tennessee just baffled everybody by beating up on the Ravens and
Baffled
how
Jesse Baden because the
They
rest
did
of us all
baffle
said it was
me.
going to fucking happen.
No, not on your brackets, not on your picks.
Yeah.
The only one that picked Tennessee was Andy last week.
We were talking
the
about
only
the
one that-
Patriots.
I'm talking about the Tennessee and the Ravens last week.
I'm pretty sure you said Patriots.
No.
Fuck, what
Well,
you
first
talking
off,
about the
then-
Patriots for?
Well, then I assumed you were talking about the Patriots because most people, when they say, how did we get here, start with, who did the Titans beat to
We
get
already
to the
talked
AFC
about
Championship?
that shit.
They beat the Patriots,
Are you
then they
the
go on to the
host?
Ravens.
Are you the host?
Well, fucking host it right.
I am. You're
I
fucking
think
it
No,
you're
up.
you're
fine
fucking
job,
it up.
Jesse. Jesse, you're doing a fine
The
job.
road to
Thank
how they
you,
got
Andy.
there started with
Shut
beating the
up!
New England
I
Patriots.
wish I could mute you like around the horn.
Oh,
Uh,
black and white.
You're wrong. Wrong.
anyway, Tennessee and the Ravens. Tennessee came out and beat the Patriots, and then we just didn't think they were gonna. I did. A lot of us didn't think they were gonna be able to put up that kind of production against the Ravens.
Well,
And,
none of us thought
Lamar
Lamar Jackson was going to suck that bad.
And I'm going to make a quick little rundown of things. So going back to week 17, Patriots lose, dropping them to the 3rd seed. Kansas City wins, bringing them up to the 2 seed. This therefore makes the Texans go, we can't move, so we're going to rest. So they lose against Tennessee, a team in which they could have knocked out of the playoffs had they won that game, and possibly got the Steelers in. Now, that goes on. Patriots would have played the number 2 seed, so it would have been, let's see here. How did I lay it out?
Kansas City still.
So Kansas
Would have been
City
Kansas City at 3 against Pittsburgh, Houston at 4 against
Buffalo. Obviously, Houston won that one. Patriots would have beat the Steelers. So Patriots then go play Kansas City, and the Ravens play the who would it be?
Houston or Buffalo.
Yeah, it would have been Houston.
So Houston.
So the Patriots then are going to go on beating Kansas City because at that time I was like, well, look at what they fucking did. They at the beginning of the game. Patriots would have gone on and then played the Ravens, and then Patriots probably would have been in the Super Bowl again. Because the Texans gave up and let the Titans get into the Super Bowl, we have a possibility to have Titans in the fucking Super Bowl right now.
Patriots wouldn't have
The
been in the
trickle
Super Bowl. You're fucking wrong.
What I'm saying is thank you, Texans, for sitting your starters because it saved us from having another goddamn Patriots Super Bowl. What was that, Andy?
I was going to say, I just wanted to be noted that I completely called the Tennessee game plan for last week.
Fuck
If-
off.
Here, you're the fucking
What did you call? What did you call?
broadcast man here.
Break it down,
Go
Andy.
back and tell them. I was trying to play low this week, guys, because
You
Break it
did.
down, Andy. What
You
you tell
did.
us?
Go ahead.
I-
Go ahead.
I said-
you did. And then you know what the worst part is? Andy
Andy
fucking called this at the beginning of the year, too.
I did. So fuck you. And
No, he
Mariota-
didn't. He said it was going to be a breakout year for Mariota, and so that nullifies his pick.
That's a
That's
good
true.
point.
No, fuck you. He's still on the bench, bitch. But anyhow,
It's gonna be-
Hey, he
yeah,
was
he's-
in on that direct snap play when
yeah,
Henry
he
threw a
plays
touchdown.
sometimes. He plays
Yeah,
sometimes.
he was wide open.
Yeah, it was.
I was actually mortified whenever they came out and they were going to do that 2-point conversion. If Mariota was playing quarterback, I was like, do not fucking do this. But anyhow, their defense, they played it perfect. They fucking played super physical against the Ravens. I mean, their pass rush was effective. They played a fucking spy, or they played somebody parallel to Lamar Jackson all game. That's all they had to do was shut him down. Anywhere he went, there was somebody on him. No matter
Okay.
where he went on the field, there was somebody mirroring him.
For the full breakdown, what they did against Lamar Jackson is actually what the Kansas City Chiefs did with Lamar Jackson earlier in the year when they beat the Ravens. Is instead of letting Lamar Jackson get vertical up the field, they pushed him to the outsides. They did not let him go straight ahead. They made him run to the outside, and were able to then, collapse to the ball and stop him, effectively shutting down the Lamar Jackson running game, which is what they had called for on, I think, the Tiki and Tierney show. I forget who I think it was Ross Tucker was saying that that's what he thought Tennessee would be able to do against the Ravens, and he thought they would win. I thought he was full of shit, so I didn't mention anything last week and picked the Ravens.
So
That's exactly what I just fucking said, Kevin. Thanks a lot.
No. Not even close.
it kind of is, yeah.
That's exactly what I
It pretty much is. Anyway,
A better way of saying what you tried to say.
The Titans' little Cinderella story right now is awesome, and I kind of hope they beat Kansas City. I'm picking Kansas City, but I hope I'm wrong, which I usually am. So we have guys have a good chance.
Always wrong podcast.
If you had the Saints, honestly, to go to the Super Bowl, and they're obviously out of it, and you had the Chiefs, everybody should just go mortgage somebody's house on the Titans.
Yeah, right.
Not even three of them.
Why are you trying to fuck up somebody's?
Yeah, why are you trying to
home
do
ownership?
some real estate agency over here?
Are you being
It's a
sponsored
bigger
by
house
fucking
every time.
Howard Hanna on the side here and just not telling us?
Yeah.
Are you
actually,
a Remax
if you-
agent? We didn't
If you
know.
all go step outside of your houses right now, they all just came up. For
There's a
sale.
goddamn sign with his ginger face on it.
And there's no
We'll pay
real
your
estate-
closing costs.
There's no real estate company or anything. It just says sold for FanDuel purposes.
Don't make me call Aunt Sheila and get some ground ginger in here again.
Wow. Let me just
Hate you.
hold on.
Slow clap?
I'm not even
All
gonna
right,
give
so-
you a third.
I like a good
We
slow.
go over to the Kansas
Okay,
City
Wentworth.
game. Another game we kind of thought, oh my God, is this AFC Championship going to be the Texans and the Titans? Because right out of the gate, they fucking just start shitting all over them, lead them 24-0. And then
They shit on themselves.
they shit on themselves. They fuck up bad. And Mahomes just goes bananas. So that game was the tale of two halves, big time. Well, actually, you can't even say that. The tale of one quarter and the rest of the game. Because it was absolutely nuts in the first, and then by halftime, the Kansas City Chiefs were up again. So it was a pretty nuts game to watch. What were you guys' takeaway from that one?
Andy.
All right, very good. Sounds good. Well, y'all are just
Andy
fucking-
started it off
everybody
the last
yawns
time.
about it.
Yeah, Andy was the last one to start, so I never figured.
Oh, so I have to talk again. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's trying to keep it low key.
I am.
Well, that's obviously why we picked you, is just start off every topic.
Yeah. Fuck. What's my takeaway from that game? The Texans' defense was suspect. I mean, everybody knew that.
Secondary was bad.
Yeah, and they definitely got fucking put that to the full front in the second half. Deshaun Watson was playing well, and I think he was just trying to force too much. He was trying to take the fucking game into his hands, and I'm not saying that lost it for him. I mean, they lost the game either way, but
Well, their secondary lost in that game, like you
Yeah.
said. Thanks for sending us a draft pick for Garyon Conley, you fucking morons. But what really killed that game was fucking Bill O'Brien faking a punt on like a 4th and 6.
yeah, that was,
Yeah.
On, like,
Jace is
hit-
jumping the shark here,
30.
taking my opportunity to speak because I went second last time here.
Oh my fuck, Kevin, go bite a dick.
I was.
I hope you
just-
get smacked in the face with a bag of dicks.
Yeah, two bags of dicks. And I was just making a quick point, and then I was going to let you, go on your usual fucking monologue. But no, basically what happened was
Of rightness.
His vagina monologue.
Of rightness. Fucking Napoleon Dynamite over here. It's fucking rightness.
I don't even. That
Dickhead.
was the lack of grammar and just IQ points there. What was I even talking about? Like, I feel like I got dumber. Everybody in this room is dumber as a result of that. I gave you no points, and may God have mercy.
May God have mercy.
But no, Bill O'Brien going for that fake punt. I mean, it was a good play call. The guy had one guy to beat. It's just he fucking literally just ran straight at him and let him tackle him. And then they fumbled the ball in the next possession. Then they fumbled on the kickoff and they ran it in for a touchdown. Like they played spotless football for one quarter and then literally just decided to throw the other three away.
I was gonna say they shot their momentum in the foot, like bad.
They blew their load. All of it.
Well, now that
How
Jason's
you
covered
doing?
absolutely everything that happened in the game except for one thing, I'll go ahead and talk now.
Let me just
Go right ahead.
It's a
What-
fucking.
you'll still
Here comes
find
a
way to talk
monologue of
about that one
rightness.
thing for 15 minutes, and Gardner Minshew will come up, and then something else, and so
I mean, Gardner Minshew wasn't in this game. If he were in the game, maybe for the Texans, it might have been a different story from Houston.
in the show. And
I'm
But-
gonna de-invite Kevin to the podcast.
Yep.
But what I think really turned the game around was before even the fourth down fake punt bullshit was the Mecole Hardman. It was still special teams. It was Mecole Hardman with that return, 52-yard return that got them in on their side of the field, and they immediately.
It was like what?
Was it
3
2 or
plays?
3 plays?
Yeah, I was gonna
I
say it's
think-
either
But
2 or 3.
immediately scored. And then right after that, forced them into a 3-and-out, which they then tried the fake punt, and then again another quick fucking score. Now you're back with it's down 24-14. You're 10 points down, and it was off the rails for the fucking Texans at that point. There was no getting back on.
Yeah, it went from nearly out of reach for the Chiefs to they were within a possession, and the Texans were this close to putting them away. They really could have.
If they would have kept the
Sam-
momentum.
Sam-
They had
what?
sucked all the air out of the fucking stadium. If they had been able to get a touchdown instead of the field goal there before the Mecole Hardman return, that would have really sucked the air out of that fucking stadium, being down 28-0.
Sammy Watkins was
nuts.
on the sideline down 24-0 and said he was like, fuck, it was over. And he said Travis Kelce was walking around talking to people saying, well, we ain't out of this, don't fucking quit. And then they went out and got both those quick scores. And then as soon as obviously they got their fucking confidence back, Mahomes was like, oh, I know how to do this again.
Stella's got her groove back.
So, let's look at the NFC here. Let's look at how we got here. We got Green Bay and San Francisco. So let's look at the 2 games. The Green Bay and Seattle game actually seemed like the closer of the games over that weekend. It went down to the last play with, what was his name, Hollister or something like that, and he was like inches from the goal line. It was a fucking nuts play. But what do you take away from the Seattle and San Francisco or Green Bay game? Excuse me, Jace. We'll start with you this time.
I fell asleep on my couch for like 90% of this game.
It was sort of a bore. Like
We're all old men.
yeah.
I was really struggling. But no, everything I saw though was all the big deal that was made about the refs and all that bullshit at the end of the game, and there was apparently like a blown first down call or something.
Oh my god.
It was pretty bad. I
Yeah,
had a lot of-
bad.
I had a
People
lot
were
of people
We're
argue
making
about it.
memes where they were taking the first line down,
Well,
line down, and then drawing it like this around the guy.
Yeah.
and again, I didn't really say anything because I was waiting until we were on this platform to be able to do so. They showed a different camera angle because what they told us when they first came out with this whole fucking little marker on the field during the games for the first down line is that that's not an accurate representation of what
Right.
the sticks show. and they actually showed the pylon camera from the stick where it's got the flag right there, and Jimmy Graham was across it.
Yeah, they
with the
showed
football.
that. And,
Because on top of that, if it wasn't as far off as a lot of people were thinking either, because when they showed the from behind view, the ball was literally like, because his helmet was across the line, and the ball was basically on top, like halfway over top of where his helmet would have been when he was rolling forward on that hit,
Yeah,
when his helmet
basically-
touched.
Basically,
So-
from what I saw, everybody made a big deal about the refs, but this
Yeah,
game,
from the pylon view, he was crossed.
it was not really that close up until the end. The Seahawks made it interesting at the very last minute, but yeah, basically, Packers rolled that. It's so weird to see the Packers with an effective running game. It's so strange to not
and the
have to
fact that
watch
it was
Aaron
Aaron
Rodgers
Jones too, because like he's been there for a couple years and he was not good before. Like, so I don't know where it came from.
No.
He was good at the end of last year,
Yeah, and I
and
think,
he's been good all year this year. Trust me.
Exactly.
I had him in
Yeah, he's been
fantasy.
really good this year.
yeah, offensive line inconsistencies maybe.
Not the fantasy that mattered, Evan.
It's just-
Unfortunately,
It's just so weird to, like I said, see Aaron Rodgers not have to do it all. Like, he has a good defense, he has a good running game to rely on, which is actually pretty.
You don't have a
dangerous.
lot of fourth quarter Hail Marys now.
Well, if you are literally to the point where Aaron Rodgers is playing it like, obviously I know he's not, but like 70% effort right now. He's letting everybody else do it, and then you get to the Super Bowl, and he looks around and goes, "Oh fuck, better turn it on now." That could be really dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Andy? You haven't said anything about this game, Mr. Low-Key.
Yes, Mr. Low-Key here. I think Aaron Rodgers played pretty good. I think they're gonna go and play the 49ers next week and lose. But did you guys watch the presser after the game with Aaron Rodgers?
Mm.
Like, he's like he's like playing this villain right now. I don't really get it, but I love it. Like, he's just like super like nonchalant about everything and just kind of like really distant about everything. I love it, but he has the team on his back. I mean, everybody's fucking following him, and I think they actually have a pretty good chance to beat the 49ers. I mean, a lot better chance than if you would have asked me at the beginning of the playoffs. But
Yeah, Kevin, what do you got here before I jump in?
well, I thought this game was pretty indicative of what I had been saying about the Seahawks in big game moments. I just didn't think they were going to be able to pull it off when it came down to it, and they didn't. And just the one thing I will say is Marshawn Lynch showed that Marshawn Lynch can still be an effective running back in this league if he wants to be, with the right team and the right situation. I think maybe handing him the ball a few more times in a goal-to-go situation probably might have been a good idea, Mr. Carroll. Still haven't fucking learned that lesson.
No.
But, yeah, I thought he acquitted himself very well. The Packers did what the Packers have been doing all year. They've played a lot of tight games and ran the football and relied on a lot of good defense. And as far as Aaron Rodgers and the interview after the game, that's just Aaron Rodgers with any media that he doesn't necessarily like. Like, he only talks to the people he likes. He goes on a Pat McAfee show. He's a completely different fucking person than what you see on TV. He
Yeah,
does
but
not.
I mean-
He does not care to talk to the media. He's basically Marshawn Lynch, but he says more stuff.
I mean, but his demeanor is completely different. Like, it's not.
No, that's the same as he always
wasn't-
is to me.
I
Well,
I
you are
thought it was
the
complete-
the one we all turn to when we judge athletes, Kevin.
Well,
I'm done.
I'm saying that somebody
That's
acts the way I
awful.
think he always fucking acts. Wasn't sitting here saying anything other than that. You want to be a fucking asshole? Go ahead.
There's a body.
I'm saying that we always never mind.
Maybe you
Hey.
should, because I'm the one that's right on most of the shit. So
Don't make me go into this again. Damn it.
Anyway, like, so
I wish I could play the triggered GIF right now.
No, but I agree. I actually do agree with you, Kevin. Aaron Rodgers is that just type of person. Like that's just how he acts. And that's how he always seems like he's stoned to me. Like he's always just
Maybe he is.
chill, stoned. He always
What's
has
there to
bug
do
out
in Green Bay
eyes.
other than get stoned?
So let's take a look at the San Francisco game there. I don't even really remember this game, to be honest with you. It just didn't seem super exciting to me. I mean, what do you guys feel about this?
Nothing really to comment on.
Did
I
anybody
watched
actually
seed in
think
the NFC
Minnesota
against
was
the
going to
6th
win?
seed.
Minnesota kept it close in the first opening salvos of the game. It was a close game, and then that was it.
Yeah,
They
then it was
could
it.
achieve nothing. I watched the first beginning portion of this game, and then I was listening to it on the radio as I was hauling ass to get back to get on with Smith Nation for the Mixer stream. But just even listening over to the radio, they were just getting dominated. They did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a very exciting game. And one thing I did notice, most of the teams that had the bye started off slow, except for the NFC teams. Like the NFC teams, like they were all right to go when they had the bye. The AFC teams, both of them started off like garbage. Ravens ended like garbage. Kansas City got their footing. So,
and then I mean that's where it shows a lot in coaching too, because Kyle Shanahan, they came out after Jimmy Garoppolo threw that interception and ran 8 straight running plays for a touchdown. They did not throw one pass that entire drive.
I was watching some of the formations and the stuff he does. Like I follow a lot of guys that have played in the league and go on Twitter and do film analysis and breakdowns now. And I can't exactly remember how to pronounce his name, but Olin Kreutz, remember the old Bears center from way back in yesteryear? He does a lot of those now. And he was breaking down some of the formations and how they actually block and how complicated it is. And he was basically in this video I played 13 some years in the NFL, and he's like, I had to watch this 7, 8 times to figure out exactly what they're doing. And it is literally like a ballet dance that he's putting together that is so complicated, but they can run literally any play from any running play on any side of the line at any time and do all sorts of jet sweeps and all sorts of bullshit because he's just a fucking whiz kid.
Yeah, and I mean,
are we talking
right
about Sean
is
McVay? Or?
one of the biggest reasons that Atlanta has sucked so
He's
bad
old news.
because
Yeah,
they lost
fuck
Kyle
Sean McVay.
Shanahan.
That is it,
Kyle
too.
Shanahan has
He
been the
got
missing
out of
piece
there.
in Atlanta.
They've been garbage since.
I mean, and that's, Jimmy G, I still like Jimmy G, but he definitely still needs a lot of polishing.
Mm-hmm.
And with a list of random ass, who the fuck are you running backs, Kyle Shanahan has turned this team into a just juggernaut.
Put
running
some
the
respect
football
on Raheem Mostert's name now.
Did you even know Raheem Mostert's name before this year?
I did last year because as a Matt Breida fantasy owner last year, everybody knows
You needed
he's
him.
always hurt, so I knew who he was. Yes, I will call your bullshit on that one.
Yeah, I remember I tried to trade you for Matt Breida at one point, and you were like, no.
He was the only thing that kept me alive a couple of times last year. But no, to Kevin's point, random running backs, fucking Deebo Samuel. What a monster. Shit.
The
Emmanuel
addition,
Sanders is still doing
the
his
addition
thing.
of Emmanuel Sanders has really made this offense be an entirely different machine. Bringing in a true number one receiver, put everybody in their places, and I said this on the episode after the trade. It put everybody in their proper respective position and made this offense way more dynamic than it was before.
Samuel impresses me because I know when we talked about the draft and stuff like that, he was kind of like a Tavon Austin. kind of a weird hybrid guy. You didn't know where he was going to go, and he's just one of the
Well,
And who
that's the
would've-
thing.
best weapons now.
That's
would've
why they needed
thought?
Samuel, because he's a guy who is right now a 3 that needs to get the chance to work himself into a 2.
Is Dante Pettis even still alive?
I don't
Has
know.
anybody even heard his name?
Marquise Goodwin.
He's hurt, I think.
But
What's
so
the other Chargers?
what's your pick for this game? How can Green Bay win and how can San Francisco win? Kevin, I'll start with you since I haven't started with you yet.
Green Bay can win if their entire 49ers defense gets the flu. That's about it. San Francisco is going to win, and it's not going to be pretty.
All right. Andy, what do you think?
What are we talking about? I'm just fucking with you.
He's just here so he doesn't get fined.
Yeah, I'm just here for my pretty face.
He's here to get his mentals right, get his chicken right.
Yeah.
Did
Treat
you
your
see
metals
he
right.
came out? He put a shirt out that literally says "Take care of your chickens" on it,
And
and
that's
it
why
wasn't
he's
like
a fucking
$35.
genius.
I
Went
would
in
have
there and
bought it.
said that. He's like, all right, I said that shit. Time to market this shit. And now he's gonna make another fucking $100,000 off fucking.
He never spent a penny of his
Beef
NFL salary.
No,
Yeah,
all
he's a
he lived off his signing bonus. That's why
he's
he's.
a fucking genius when it
Yeah.
comes to like fucking.
And
Beast.
I love
I
it.
remember I forget whether it was Conan who was still doing the Tonight Show or whether it was Fallon at that point. But they asked him, they're like, "How are you going to be financially?" He's like, "Man, I ain't even touched my salary." And the guy's like, "Really?" He's like,
Yeah,
That's insane.
"Yeah,
like
I still have
gold
half
teeth.
my bonus left."
Gold teeth, like everybody knows him for that, riding around the golf cart at Cal,
Yeah.
lean back in it. Everybody's like, he's just fucking kid from the hood, and he's like a fucking absolute.
Yeah, he's going to be
entrepreneur
one of
genius.
these 80% of NFL athletes that go broke. Is what the way he kind of seemed,
Yeah.
and with
But
the
he's
gold teethuses and everything like that. But no,
He's a genius.
that's plated gold, bitch.
Yeah. That's
He's a
it.
baller on a budget,
Gold, baby.
motherfucker.
That's super gold. Brad.
It's the gold
That's
tin
good.
foil that you put over
Yeah.
your teeth.
Yeah, I think he did that Bear Grylls thing, and he actually did a story. He bought one in like high school or something. And he's so pissed at himself. He spent all this money on it, and then he left it on his lunch tray and fucking threw it away and had to go back and dig for it. How pissed off could you be? Like, you'd be so fucking mad. All right, first thing. Dante Pettis is third on the depth chart, but I don't think he's even trotted out onto the field because they can play like 5 running backs.
When you
George
use run
Kittle.
packages
Yeah.
for 90% of your plays.
You're throwing to Kettle most of the time anyway.
Yeah,
Kittle.
You have George Kittle and Emmanuel Sanders on the field, and occasionally Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
But no, I think this is going to be a close game. But I think inevitably what it comes down to, not to sound like our old crotchety white fathers, but I think defense does still hold water in this league, and I think that's what it's going to come down to. The Packers have had an impressive defense, but this fucking 49ers defense and Robert Saleh has done, or however you say his last name, has done a fantastic job with these guys. And, having the defensive rookie of the year and probably rookie of the year playing his ass off doesn't exactly hurt either.
Out of all the teams that are left, most of them have had really good running games and good defense. Green Bay had very good defense early in the season, kind of waned off a little bit. And they're above average defense. I wouldn't say they're good defense, but they have a good running game. San Francisco, running game, great defense. Tennessee, running game and great defense. Kansas City's really the only one that doesn't have that mold. It's kind of like the days when Peyton Manning would go in and be like, offense. You might be able to finally see, the same old of
even
defense and
Peyton
run
Manning
game.
had Edgerrin James, though.
That's true.
Put
But,
some respect on Joseph Adai's name.
True.
Joseph
So-
Adai didn't put respect on Joseph Adai's name.
Well, he was the one. it was him that won the Super Bowl with Peyton, wasn't it?
Adrian
Wasn't it?
James was in the
He was
New
in the Bears
Orleans
when they
Super Bowl.
lost.
Oh, I thought he was with
Or
the
no,
New
no,
Orleans
yeah,
one,
yeah, no,
He
no,
went
no,
to the
no. You're right.
Cardinals.
You're right.
when they lost against the Saints.
Yeah.
But anyway, so moving on to the AFC and NFC championships, they're all going to be really great games. We're going to take our picks here in a few. Before we get into that stuff, I want to talk a little bit about some of the coaching hires that happened around the league. Some of the most teams, I think, are pretty much filled.
Yeah,
at
the
this
only
point.
one we hadn't talked about yet was the Browns because they were all decided by the time we did our podcast last week.
Yeah, everything else was filled, which I honestly surprised the hell out of me because I think it was the year prior there were still like openings at this point, and there were still firings that hadn't happened. It's weird because normally these, 4 teams that are left, usually offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, somebody's up for a job. Josh McDaniels is really the only one, and because the Patriots are out of it, he's done his interviews and stuff. Joe Judge got his interviews. So I think it's weird that most of the big positions are filled and you may not see a lot of movement out of these big teams. But let's talk. We had Joe Judge going to the Giants. We talked about him a little bit. I don't know if was Mike McCarthy decided before we did the podcast?
Yeah, McCarthy, I think McCarthy was the second coach decided.
Okay. So
it went Ron Rivera at Washington, and McCarthy, then Judge and Rule were within like a half hour of each other.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and
so really, it's the Browns. So
yeah,
let's take a look at.
Let me start that one.
Yeah,
please.
I'm gonna let him because we were called out by our avid listener, Browns fan, Lonnie White, Uncle Lonnie. So Kevin, he called you out personally.
Yeah, as the resident Vikings fan of the podcast. First off, can you do me a favor? What is this dude's last name? Because I don't even fucking know what his last name is.
Stefanski.
Okay, so that should tell you all you need to fucking know. I didn't even know his goddamn last name. What you want to know what I think about the hiring? Browns being the Browns. They just hired an offensive coordinator for a team that in a quarter and a third put up a total of 2 offensive yards against the 49ers, and those 2 yards were off a deflected pass that a lineman fucking caught and fell forward 2 yards for. That is the worst, most pathetic showing I've seen from an offensive coordinator, aside from the Browns offensive coordinator they had this year. So yeah, what is my thoughts?
He was the
they had
Vikings offensive coordinator, right?
Yeah, he's a Vikings offensive coordinator. They had Josh McDaniels.
He had served in the organization for 15 years, and this was his first year as offensive coordinator.
Yeah, Freddie Kitchens was hired after his first year at offensive coordinator, and look what that did for him. They had in Josh McDaniels for an interview, who would have been a better hire. They had in Salad from the 49ers for an interview, would have been a better hire. Right now, the one that I think to look for out of all these coach hires, Matt Rule, just hired another guy, the offensive coordinator, Daly from LSU, who would have been a better fucking hire than Stefanski. This was probably the second biggest mistake they've made in the last 2 years. Not quite as big as Freddie Kitchens, but right fucking behind it.
I think it is odd that it makes me think that Josh McDaniels went in there and straight up said, "Yeah, I'm doing this interview, but there's no way I'm taking this job." Like because that is who they wanted.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it is because again, as I said this before, Josh McDaniels isn't going there for the interview if he's not trying to get the job. You don't take an interview to go in and say, "I don't really want your job."
Well, I mean, if they'd offered him something asinine, I mean, he would have had to take it.
Yeah.
He
They either lowballed him and he said no, or they picked this guy over Josh McDaniels, which makes them look even fucking stupider if that's the case.
According to a pros and cons list I'm seeing on NFL, it said he apparently won the role over Josh McDaniels after buying into the team's elusive, aligned approach, Where that will lead is anyone's guess.
What the fuck does that even mean?
I have no fucking idea.
Dude,
Well, first off,
I was hoping one of
We
you
have
understood
Something
that.
you hear in like a health insurance commercial or like
Yes, thank you.
like a business like Lenovo or IBM or something.
What
I don't know
is
the fuck they do? They're like,
Elusive, aligned, in quotation marks, approach.
that is like
Well, you know,
streamlining
the
infrastructure. Nobody
the
knows what
worst
fucking
part
means.
is that they think that anything that they're coming up with inside that fucking building is better than what anybody outside of that building has to say, because it hasn't been better than what anybody else outside that building is fucking doing for the last however many goddamn years it is that they've been the worst team in football.
How do you sit down with somebody and say, like, okay, so they're sitting across the table from Stefanski, and they're like, we have an elusive, aligned plan going on here. Yes or no?
yeah.
The only thing-
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, fuck it.
Oh, fuck yeah, let's do it.
The only thing
Charlie
elusive
Kelly.
about their plan is they're eluding a playoff berth.
Yeah, they're like, hey, listen, Josh McDaniels, we understand. You're coming in to interview for this job. What we want to do, because we have been so great at being one of the worst teams in football, is we want to take none of your ideas coming from, the biggest and best dynasty in the last 20 fucking years. And we want to use our ideas over yours. So just as long as you come here and you just use our stuff.
I think this still just goes back to Haslam.
Yeah, it was you took the words out of my
Absolutely.
mouth.
Yeah.
Shit rolls downhill, a tree
He-
rots from the inside. It's
He
shit.
obviously learned nothing from his time spent in the fucking north side of Pittsburgh.
Dude, I'm sure that fucking Josh McDaniel was sitting in there, and they probably gave him like the same spiel about this elusive, aligned fucking shit. And he was probably like, "You guys are fucking retarded," and
Well-
probably like walked out. What
I
the
do have a
fuck does that
transition.
mean?
I do have a transition. Is everybody done on the Browns then?
Yeah, and thanks
I did want to talk
everybody
about-
because
Get the
now
fuck
we're
out.
going to get a 3-paragraph essay from
Just-
Uncle Lonnie about.
It's not our
us
fault
hating.
that your ownership is fucking retarded, Uncle Lonnie.
Fire
We
Haslam.
still love you, and we will root for the Browns on occasion.
And I will
Okay.
I will still continue to be the only voice of sanity on this podcast for you.
Transition point being Jimmy Haslam didn't learn enough when he was on the North Shore of Pittsburgh. The one guy who it seems like I think he might have picked up a thing or two is David Tepper down in Carolina. I'm even more impressed with the Matt Rule hiring now that he's brought in LSU's offensive coordinator. It makes me think that they might hold on to Cam just for a year to try and if they can't get a good quarterback this year that they think is their future, I think maybe hold on to Cam for another year and try to figure something out as along the lines of getting that franchise quarterback in. And I really like the possibilities of him working with that team where it seems like it's more of a young core on the offensive side, aside from Greg Olsen, who's 96 years old.
I don't know how that guy's still playing. He's still a safe bet to pick in fantasy, though. I don't
I'm
get it.
pretty sure he invented Crocs.
I would like to bring up though, since you did I did want to bring up Joe Brady. Another Pittsburgh connection. If you could tell me who else went to William and Mary and played football. Mr. Mike
He
Tomlin.
played with Mike
Yeah,
Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin.
Well, he didn't play with Mike Tomlin because he just graduated in 2012, so he's a little bit younger than him, I think. But no,
Who was it that did? They played against each other this year.
Sean McDermott.
McDermott, yeah.
yeah, McDermott.
Buffalo.
They played in high school.
Okay.
They didn't
Yeah.
play in college.
No, they played.
No, they were William and Mary.
No, they're
Oh,
William
I-
and Mary.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought it was high school they were talking. Never mind then.
I thought you were gonna take this into a Sean McDermott.
No,
But okay.
no, but what I'm getting with this is he was linebacker coach at William and Mary for 2 years, was a graduate assistant at Penn State for 2 years, and then he went and was an offensive assistant under Sean Payton for 2 years with the New Orleans Saints. Sean Payton obviously did not want to see him go, which was obviously in a bidding war with Ed Orgeron, where he wasn't the offensive coordinator. It's fucked up. He was the passing game coordinator, which LSU only really passed the ball. If you watch fucking Joe Burrow, that's literally what they did.
They threw
But
it
yeah.
deep.
Macaulay,
That's pretty much
Mr.
it.
Macaulay Culkin himself.
Yes, you can project your hate all you want, but now you got Lamar Jackson. You're gonna have Baker. He could maybe he'll still beat
Then
you.
we're
once
gonna
a
have
year,
fucking
like
Burrows.
the Brand dollars do.
I saw a
You're gonna-
meme though, because
Well,
Noah,
I love
before
Joe
you go
Burrow.
on to your memes, just real fast.
Well,
Let me
no.
finish up. Let me finish up real quick. God damn it! And then you made me lose my fucking point. But what I'm getting at is the Panthers. Kevin, you were right about this. Tepper coming in with the new ownership. He just picked up two of the biggest offensive masterminds, basically behind two of the best offenses in college football this past year.
yeah.
So Cam Newton, even though he was on life support in Carolina, I think his heartbeat, he has a chance. He's hanging on. But it's
I'm not
really
saying
gonna
next
be
year, but
all
within the
term.
next two. When Breeze is gone, the Panthers are taking over the mantle. But what I was going to say is on the meme front is they did have a nice LSU one for Joe Burrow. Then it's a picture of Joe Burrow winning the national championship, and it's got the
Smoking a
Macaulay
cigar.
Culkin pictures and him smoking a cigar, and then they got a picture of today's Macaulay Culkin looking like shit smoking a cigarette, and it says Joe Burrow after learning he's been selected by the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, he's probably not the most pumped about that, but I bet Lawrence
He's
is
gonna be
pretty
in the
happy.
NFL. He's in the NFL.
He's like,
He's gonna be
shucks,
in the
darn, I
NFL. He's
lost.
supposed
You
to
mean I
stay.
have to go in the mid rounds? Oh,
Well, Lawrence. is
No,
eligible
he's
for
not
draft
coming out
in
this year.
Oh, I thought he
Lawrence
was-
is no.
I
This
thought
was
he
a
was a
showdown
senior.
between no.
Next year.
No,
And
he's
Kevin,
Ooh.
you said that in the group chat, but I'm going to disagree with you. I think after you saw Trevor Lawrence get absolutely shell-shocked in that second half, I think he's going to have to come out and have a pretty exceptional year next year and get back to the national title game to re-cement himself as a number one overall.
As a number one.
I still think
yeah.
he'll be top 5, but I don't see him going number 1 overall after that game.
well, he's the
So,
second best
well,
quarterback this
Let's
year.
roll into that a
That
little
quarterback's not going to be in that
bit.
draft.
I guess we are kind of rolling
Well,
into
no,
it, but
I'm
how
not
did you
saying
feel
about
about that? I mean, how did you guys go with that national championship game? I thought it was really, really tight early, and it really didn't start till Burrow started stretching the field. Once he started doing that, then the game just kind of lit up.
Offensive adjustments.
Yeah.
Yep.
Clemson came in with a really good plan for Joe Burrow to start the game.
Actual adjustments.
And
Not just saying
Ed Ogeron and his crew, Mr. Brady went ahead and made some decisions in the halftime there. They came out and just before the half they made some adjustments because they went into the half being back up. But that's like I've said it a couple times this year on other things. When somebody can make adjustments like that, that's a really good sign of coaching. And they made the right adjustments, and Clemson was never able to get back into that spot of really slowing them down.
Yeah.
They did score a little bit, and then all of a sudden that stopped too. So
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not
before
saying
go on.
I'm not saying next year, but and maybe within the next 4 to 5 years, I am scared of Joe Burrow in Cincinnati.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
feel good
he,
about that either.
It's not going to be next year, but it's
He's
coming.
He's one of those guys. He doesn't have a huge arm, but the mobility and everybody
Aaron-
talks about how quickly he can process.
Aaron
and read through
Rodgers
defenses.
processing.
Yes,
Like, it's outrageous.
here's the question:
can he do it in the NFL?
Does Joe Burrow pull an Eli Manning? Don't
No.
draft me. I will
No
not
one's
sign
done that.
Fuck
no one's done
you,
that since
no.
Eli Manning.
Don't you ever fucking put somebody in that.
And no one's done it before Eli Manning. So
No.
it's not going to happen.
Here. It could happen. Everybody would have said there's no way that'll happen before Eli Manning did it either.
Archie
I'm hitting the
Manning's
bias
a
button.
bitch.
This is you
Archie
watched the
Manning's
same
a
game we all did, and you're fucking praying that you don't have to play Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow both twice a year.
And I'll tell you why. Because Andy Dalton's not that bad of a fucking quarterback.
Andy
And
Dalton's
the
gonna be
Cincinnati Bengals suck ass. So
I'm still saying
I'm not afraid of one Joe Burrow. Now you put one Joe Burrow with a lot of really good players, then maybe I'll get a little bit more intimidated.
So I said
Like an
4
offensive
years.
line or a defense that can stop anything or anything of that nature, then maybe
Do you
I'll
think-
be intimidated.
Just real fast, if the Bengals do draft Burrow, do you think AJ Green stays?
Yes. Yes.
I don't know.
And Kevin, to your point, you're saying they have no good players. Is Eifert still on the team when he's not paper mache?
No, not really.
I think he's
Yeah.
in a body cast right
Joe
now. For the
Mixon?
offseason.
Does it
AJ
matter
Green,
if AJ Green
John
stays?
Ross.
Because AJ Green's never fucking healthy.
John
Eifert's
Ross.
never
He
fucking
also
healthy.
really has never done
John Ross
tremendously
got
well.
one.
John Ross
Yes.
had 2 good games last year, Andy.
And I was
We-
fucking
Stop
all
falling
in on
in love with people when they
We-
have 2 good games.
You all need to shut up. I just realized something. If they do draft Burrow, we need to come up with a coffee-related fucking T-shirt because they're going to have 2 Joes in their backfield. There's money to be made there, and you fucking know
That's
it.
a long shot. That's a
People will
long
buy
shot,
that.
but I'm in.
I'll have a double shot
You
of Joe,
crazy
please.
son of a bitch. I'm in.
A double shot of Joe. That's exactly it.
Son of a bitch. I'm in.
I'd like to take a double shot to your forehead right now.
All right, so let's just move into the last little tidbit here. I want to take our picks here. So get me up my Word document. So we have obviously Tennessee and Kansas City. Like I said before, I personally hope Tennessee wins. I just don't think that'll happen. And I think if I just keep rooting against them, it'll happen. So
Will it?
they'll win and go to the Super Bowl. I want it to happen because I love Vrabel and what he's been able to do with this team, and just the sheer fact that I hate Mariota so much, and that he getting benched has been the saving grace for the Titans. So I'm going to pick Kansas City in here, but I also hope that they don't make it. Jace, what do you think?
I was on my iPad. What were we talking about?
Jesse, I just want
What's
you to
your
know that
pick?
you should never say who you hate on here because that person's probably going to be a Steeler next year. Because there's a chance Marcus Mariota could get picked up by the Steelers. So
please no.
you just fucking willed that to happen.
No,
If
please
that
no.
I'm going to be.
Hey, Andy. Andy,
I'll
how
send
about you shut the fuck up?
Yeah, please.
Andy,
Hey, I've been laying low all.
Are you a Steelers fan?
I am a
Because-
Steeler.
I will go.
Why would you wish that upon
Andy.
us?
I want
You
Andy
need to
Dalton.
buy
I'm telling
Jesse and
you.
Kevin matching Marcus Mariota Steeler jerseys.
Get him made. That's happening.
Okay, what game am I picking?
The AFC Championship.
Okay, Titans. I obviously said mortgage the house because I was wrong about this team. They're going to run the ball. They have a great offensive line. Their defense is good, and they somehow turned a former college wide receiver and Adam Gase reject into a guy that actually looks.
Morgan's a house. The Raiders
Pretty
fullback's going to score a touchdown against the Packers.
Kevin,
Guaranteed.
who do you have?
Guaranteed.
This is
Yeah,
not my
so
first,
Jace
this is not the
Morgan's the
first
house.
house I started podcasting in. I've actually since had to.
He's had many houses.
Yes.
He's on his like 8th mortgage right
I
now.
come
I was
home, I'm
gonna
like,
say-
honey,
Chefs.
don't even bother taking that out of the box. We got to move.
All right, Kevin, you picked the Chiefs. Andy, who you going with?
Go Titans.
All right, and then for your NFC, Niners and Packers. I'm going to do something crazy, and I'm actually going to pick the Packers on this one.
That's a man of desperation right there.
Jace?
I'm sticking with the 49ers for all my aforementioned reasons.
We talked
All right,
about
Kevin.
300
Yeah.
times.
I'm going to go with the 49ers because fuck Andy.
Okay, I guess.
Also, can
Andy?
I also go with the 49ers because fuck Andy?
Yeah, I'll put that on there.
Yeah, just-
Asterisk, because
Make a
fuck
note.
Andy.
Make a note. I'm actually going to go with the Packers too because when they do win, I just want to fucking rub it in your guys' faces because you guys suck. Fucking
Rub
All
my
right.
balls in your face.
So there's our picks for the championship games. Well, obviously next week after we are, decided who's going to be in the Super Bowl. I believe the awards show is before the Super Bowl, correct?
Yeah.
Like,
NFL
all right,
honors.
so-
you know that? Yeah.
Next week we will do a lot of our NFL honors picks and who we think deserves it and why.
Hey, one thing we could bring up real quick too is Coach Cowher and Coach Johnson both getting
that's right.
announced for the
And
Hall
Donnie
of Fame.
Shell.
I really do like the way they did that. Doing
Donnie.
it
That
during
was
the,
really
fucking
awesome.
broadcast. That
That
was
really
awesome.
awesome.
Cowers
Yeah.
was pretty cool. Jimmy Johnson's was even better with Troy Aikman up in the booth, getting teared up.
Yeah, doing what Andy's doing right now.
Yeah.
Having a sinus infection.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. I mean,
I
does
would
Troy
like-
Aikman never?
Well,
not
stop
have a
putting your
sinus
fucking
infection?
nose in places it'll get infected.
I worked around drywall all day, you
I do
fucking
just want to
bastard.
talk real quick about the Hall of Fame. There is now, out of all the players on the NFL's 1970s All-Decade team, there is now only one player who is not in the Hall of Fame, and that is Drew Pearson, who was a great Dallas Cowboys wide receiver back in the 70s. And actually, the term Hail Mary was coined on a catch that he made. I can't remember what game, whether it was a playoff game or
Hail
something.
Mary, yeah.
But yeah, you go down through, and I'm actually looking at a list on Wikipedia, and everybody else is in orange. Terry Bradshaw, OJ, Walter Payton, Lynn Swann, Dave Casper, the second team. All the second teamers are in. Earl Campbell, Ken Stabler, Roger Staubach, Gene Upshaw, Mike Webster. He is the only person not in the NFL, in the Hall of Fame, that is on this all-decades team.
Wow. Even the
Speaking
coaches?
of which, and how the NFL's ideals and everything are so skewed, they did that top 100 players list.
Oh.
Drew Brees did not make it, but guess who did make it? OJ fucking Simpson is on the top 100 list.
Well,
Murderer OJ
He's
Simpson.
skilled. He's a
he was
skilled
made it.
he was a
murderer.
football player before he was a murderer, so you have to.
Hey, innocent
He's a
until
very
proven
s-
guilty, buddy.
He's a very
Yes,
skilled
their
murderer.
their stance on domestic violence is just right up there.
That's
Oh,
where
boy.
it started. That's
Yeah.
where it fucking started.
But one last thing, just to cover my point, Lynn Swann is on that first team all team. Now, mind you, he didn't play nearly as many games. He only finished with 5,000 career yards. John Stallworth played opposite of him. He finished with over 8,000 career yards, 8,700. Drew Pearson played one of the best offenses ever, played 5-6 less games than John Stallworth, and had 7,800 yards receiving and 20 less touchdowns, but still Hall of Fame numbers. The poor guy had TV cameras in his house because he thought he was getting picked today, and he got fucking robbed.
Oh,
Yeah. It was like one of the most sad things I've ever watched.
They actually had Coach Cower on Tiki and Tierney on my way home today, and they were talking to him, and he had because normally on Wednesday you get your notification of whether you made it or not. So everything had come and went. No, didn't hear nothing yet. So he's like, okay. He told his wife, he's like, I've made peace with it. You know what? I'm comfortable with what I did as a coach. If I never make it, I'm okay. 45 minutes before they made the announcement on the show, somebody contacted his wife and daughter to let them know that he had made the Hall of Fame and to get them to the studio so they could be there when they told him. They had no fucking clue. He had no fucking clue. 'Cause that's what he's like.
He was like
He said that
holding
to his
back
wife.
tears.
yeah.
He said that to his wife that morning because that's what he said to her afterwards. He's like, "You knew that whole time?" She's like, "No. They told me 45 minutes before they told you."
Yeah, that chin has been out to here before, but holding back them tears, I mean,
Yeah.
that fucker
Yeah.
looked like Jay
It
Leno.
went.
The crimson
His speech was really good too. I thought he did an awesome job with his speech at the end there. I thought it was really good. So
And as somebody who grew up fucking hating Bill Cowher, very well deserved.
Yes.
Very, very well deserved.
Yep. All right. Well, guys, I just want to go into our final thoughts. Just, throw it at me, guys. What are your
Sure.
final thoughts here?
I just
Don't hold back any explicitives.
okay. I was talking to Jace before the podcast here, and they decided the fucking. Did you guys see they decided the ref squad for the Super Bowl? It's
Ed
fucking,
Hercules coming back?
no, it's Vinovich, the guy with
Vinovich?
the blown fucking PI call in New Orleans.
Awesome.
So apparently they're like the only squad that didn't throw a flag on like every single play this year. So they got.
Well,
picked.
yeah, they're scared to death too.
Yeah.
That's my final thought. Fuck.
There you go.
Yeah.
Fuck
One
yeah.
last final thought. since I always bitch about how Raiders don't get any, pennants in the Hall of Fame, we always got to die before they fucking get in. Stabler being the number one. It's the truth. Lynn Swann had 5,000 fucking career yards and 51 touchdowns. Cliff Branch is not in the Hall of Fame. He's a 4-time All-Pro. He had 8,600 career yards and 67 touchdowns. But Lynn Swann suffers from what we call OBJ syndrome. He had one catch that was a highlight reel worthy thing, and it made an entire fucking career. Lynn Swann wasn't even the best wide receiver on his own team.
He was not.
Cliff
Not
Branch
next to
won
John
3.
Stallworth.
Cliff Branch won all 3 of the Raiders' Super Bowls. So he had 3. Swann had 4. Like I said, Swann was all-pro and first team and was one that always got the glory. But Stallworth was better.
Stallworth was the fucking bread and butter
It's all
guy.
flash, man. It's all flash. Deion Sanders couldn't
Proved
tackle
that.
anybody.
Yeah,
But that was
that's why
my
he
final
said.
thought.
All right,
Uh,
Kevin, I'll let you take the bag of this one.
On my final thought there, I put this up in our chat the other day, or yesterday, maybe today. I can't remember what day it was. No, that was today. Chad Ochocinco is trying out right
Trying
now.
out
He's
for a
going to
kicker,
try
babe.
out to be an XFL kicker, which some people might remember. He has actually kicked in NFL games before
Yeah, he has.
and made them. He's a
Yep.
huge soccer fan, big into FIFA. Pat McAfee's all excited about it. He says it's good for the brand.
For the brand, baby.
For the brand.
And
yeah, there's a guy.
We support the brand on All the Rage Sports
There's
podcast.
Yes.
You guys don't listen to Pardon My Take, but it's Barstool's biggest football. They had one of their co-hosts try out as a kicker as well for I think the DC team. He walked out in rec specs wearing the Morton Anderson single bar.
yeah,
Fucking field goals in.
Yes.
he did try out. That was also brought up on the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah,
While
PFT.
they were talking about Ochocinco, and that's what he said. He said he said it's not legal in the NFL, but if they make that a legal helmet in the XFL, he's definitely all for it.
Yeah.
The old single bar. But yeah, that's my
Gary
final
Anderson.
thought. Other than fuck each and every one of you that's currently on the podcast with me.
Feeling
my
Uncle
final,
Bill, fuck Lamar Jackson.
We don't care what
Thank
your final
God we
thought
were
is, Jesse.
actually right this whole time. We shouldn't have went back on our own thought
Yeah,
process.
He's not
when
a
you make him
quarterback.
throw,
He's a running
he
back.
sucks. I'm so happy. And you know what? I haven't seen Uncle Bill online since that
He's
game.
been
got a
on
couple of
really
Ravens
late.
Friends fans, they're all in hiding. They're under the
Yeah.
rocks right now.
He's on really
They
late
talk
lately.
all that shit.
So I guess my final thought would be I'll take the bag of dicks on this one.
Of course you would.
Hey-o.
Imagine that.
So Antonio Brown getting into a fight with one of his many baby mamas about the kids. According to Kevin, you said she was actually who the cops are
Just
originally called
what
on.
I had heard, I'm not sure. I didn't watch the video or anything like that, but that's what I had heard was that she was actually one in the wrong to begin with, but then Antonio Brown went Antonio Brown and made himself the wrong one.
He freaked out, swearing at the cops, which eventually turned into him throwing a literal bag of dicks at them while screaming "Fuck the NFL."
They
And
said it
just
was
to point
pretty-
out, what a
James.
racist statement by you to assume that he has many baby mamas. He only has one.
He has a few different baby mamas.
I thought there was only the one girl. Yeah, I think there's only one. Kevin?
I don't.
Pretty sure it's just
believe
one.
so.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
pretty
there's
sure
one.
it's more because I believe there was talk about how he has a few different kids with a few different mamas during the whole rape scandal thing. Or
Maybe
that,
not. Regardless.
whatever. It doesn't
Rape?
matter.
You're just a
Rape
piece of
gate?
shit regardless.
Whatever the fuck
Rape
it was
gate?
with him and the harassment.
We call this rape gate.
No,
No, we're not coining
shut
the
up,
term
Andy.
rape gate.
You heard it here first, people. Rape it.
Oh my god, that's so horrible.
Well,
We did so
Andy's
good
officially been
for so
fined.
long. Well, yep.
I'm
just
only here
just
so you
I
don't get
fined
fined.
now, I guess.
Should
So,
be getting
yeah.
fined for having a Pirates Cup.
Wasn't Rapegate just what fucking happened with Lewinsky and Clinton?
That was Sploogegate.
That was
Gate. Yeah.
gate.
We should probably just cut this right here and just cut our losses.
All right.
Right.
Does somebody else want to do the outro since Jace took the lead last week?
Kevin, you
I think I was pretty good at it. I think I
Yeah,
should
you
do
did
it.
pretty well.
Well, go ahead and let Jace hit it again.
All right.
Yeah, all right, Jace.
Yeah, let's see.
Sign us out, Jace.
All righty. Thank you all for joining us on this absolute shit show roller coaster that we go through every week.
Rape gate.
Kevin, real quick. Yeah, rape gate. Before I go into my big thing, are you doing anything with your buddy Smith this week? That you wanna
Yes,
go over
with
real
Smith
fast?
NC, I'll be on the NASCAR side tomorrow doing some pavement racing. We'll be on Saturday night as well. We're in the playoffs in both dirt and on pavement. So come out, watch. Make sure to give Smith XNC a follow on YouTube. If you get on Mixer to watch, follow it on there as well. And on all the other various platforms he's on that you'll see in his links.
Yes,
There you
and
go.
if you do happen to just wander across this from Smith's page and you actually listen to an episode, we are so sorry.
And
Yeah.
Our
get to
One,
this
we're
point,
sorry, and
and
thank
get
you.
to this point.
Yeah, thank you. If you've made it this far, even to the apology, you're a trooper. Like,
We'll see you
I
next
really do
week.
appreciate-
You go.
Yeah,
You
we'll
go,
see you
you.
next week. But yes, thank you everybody for your support. Obviously, follow us on Facebook. I'm gonna make a Twitter one of these days. I'm gonna get around to it.
I'll
I'm gonna
get
make it
you
up.
logged into the Twitter. I've told you how to
It
log
doesn't
in.
work. I tried.
Yeah, it's a
Maybe
lie.
I'm just a boomer with Twitter. But yes, on behalf of, yeah, I don't know. You always call me the old man, and I'm always.
It's
called-
We are up past Jace's bedtime right now.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm
Me
I'm
too.
fucking.
He's not
I'm-
even going to get on and play 3-on-3 with me on Call of Duty now.
Oh yes, I am. What time is it? Oh,
it's only
like
10.
o'clock.
We're
Yeah.
good
Oh
to
yeah. I'm
go.
good. All right. And on behalf of Mr. Andy Stewart, Kevin Robinson, and Jesse Baden, I am Jace Chunk. This has been All the Rage Sports. You don't have to do the finger guns.
Go see us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Donate
Visit
to our
us
PayPal,
on-
Weebly.com.
Yeah, PayPal.
I love
all
you
that
guys.
shit.
PayPal,
Thank you. guys.
PayPal, Rapegate.
This has been All the
PayPal,
Rage.
rape game. Always rage on.